Yes, welcome to another episode of After We Rap. We are your hosts, Jaina and Ortiz
and Gabriella Ortiz.
So before we begin, we just want to let you know, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, or any of your other favorite podcasts.
Yes.
And give us a follow at After We Rap Show. Share it with your family, your friends, on social media. And
subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah,
Did we say
all that stuff.
All that stuff. All that good stuff.
And then
Don't forget about Patreon. Join us on our Patreon page for After We Rap.
Called the after party.
The
after party.
After party. The after party. Where you can get VIP access to exclusive content, live recordings, BTS footage, that is behind the scenes. And you can submit your questions for us to answer. And we get this party started on patreon.com/afterwerapshow.
And just to repeat that, that's patreon.com/afterwerapshow. Okay, I'm so excited.
Me too.
I'm just too excited. Yes, it's happening. It's really happening. Okay.
What's happening today,
Jaina? I'm going
Jaina?
to introduce someone that is a full representative, of her name.
Yes.
She is Joy. And not only is she an actress, model, producer, and founder of Joy is Everywhere Inc.
Boom, 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 boom.
Please welcome Joy McElveen.
Hi guys. Hello.
All right. So let's get right to it.
Okay, then.
No time wasted.
No time.
You have a very special gift. I mean, you are just everything magical and pure, and anyone who meets you instantly falls in love with you. But I know Joy a little more personally, and I know that you have a special gift with kids. And straight off the bat, I just need to know, what's your secret weapon? Like what is it that you do? Because instantly knowing that I'm in a room surrounded with kids gives me anxiety.
Yeah. The thing about kids that I love is no matter what age they are, even like newborn, they have like that fifth sense, that sixth sense. And they are so authentic and they're so pure and they require you to show up as that. And I always feel safe with kids because it started from my mother. Like my mom wanted 5 kids, but she didn't have 5, but she has 2, but she has lots of kids that she's raised. She's retired military, and everybody, when I went to her retirement party, was like, your mama is my mama. So that means you my sister, you my brother. So I got many sisters and brothers all over that my mom has poured into. But what each of them said, and it's the same that I try to do when I'm in front of a child, is like, I just come in on their level. I see them. Like, because they want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be validated, but they're stuck in their like imagination and their curiosity. And so it requires me to do the same. And so when I meet a child, I'm like, I want to get down on their level. I'm not big. And it's, hey, and then you get to see some are very shy and they're like a little standoff, but they know right away that you're safe because you'll see them, they'll stick behind their mom and then every now and then they'll peep at you. See if you're still there. And you're like, okay, I'm slowly warming up with you. And then by the end of the day, I'm like, I done got a new friend. And their parents that come and they're like, my child never talks to anybody. Or now you just like, what did you do? And I don't know. It's my thing. It's my gift of like, it's okay to be all right, to be all of you here because you are making me be all of me. So that's mine.
And I see it too. I mean, I've seen you work with kids at parties. I mean, so many different events where I'm like, how she clearly has something that just, it's like a magnet. Kids just draw to you instantly. You're like a child whisperer.
Yes,
really.
That's what I say to myself when I found what's his name, Caesar, who's the dog whisperer. And I was blown away. I enjoyed the show. Like I'm like, and I get it because sometimes it's very, to everyone else, they're like, what is that gift? And it's hard for people who have it because it's like, how do I articulate that to you so that you're able to understand what I'm doing? But it's hard to put in words. It's just, I know that when you're in my presence, I want you to have an experience. And that's what it's about.
I mean, I'm having
feeling it. I'm already feeling it. I'm looking straight into her eyes and I'm like, I'm protected. Like I have like
you feel
this
safe.
instant
You feel
feeling.
safe and warm and loved.
Yeah, but when you said, like when the kids are like peeking behind, I had like, for some reason, I just had flashbacks of myself, of like trying to even when I looked at adults and I'm just like, I want to be like that. Oh, how do they talk so fast? Oh no, don't look at me.
Yes.
Okay. Like it's that what goes through the child's mind when they're in the presence of adults. Like, it's so interesting.
And that's how you came up with your nonprofit organization.
I did.
Joy is Everywhere.
I came up with this idea. It was during the pandemic, and I prior to that had already, like, I had 10 years under my belt of working and entertaining kids all over the city. And so I've gotten to meet some incredible kids, like, and you know, from parents who like high clientele all the way down to just the average mom, but they're like so involved in their child and their child is so incredible. And so during the pandemic, when there was like, I mean, like we were being stretched to ask, like, what else is there to you? What more? And how can you reach in this level where it seems as though everything has been stopped? Then that's where Zoom was invented. And then you got to like really stretch yourself and connect that way. So I was like, how can I do this? And I was like, well, I think I want to do Joy is Everywhere. Like, because joy is literally everywhere. And I knew that it was something that I was supposed to do because it was the easiest path, it seemed. It was like God had already just ordered the steps. Like I needed a consultant firm. So a friend said, this is who you should call. I had an interview. That interview went well. And then it was like, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, dang, I'm already here. What's next? I mean, usually that takes time and years, and I've already had that laid out. So that's why it's like, oh, this is the mission. This is the purpose. And it's about global joy. And, you know, and it's like, what are you willing to die and sacrifice for? It's like my joy.
Y'all don't understand what's happening right now.
I know. And that's just like a part of you. That's not like all of you. There's so much more.
Oh, lady.
I know. You just have to take a breath.
Hold on a second.
Are your cheeks hurting? My cheeks are hurting from smiling. It's like you gotta do. It's a podcast, but we like really gotta work your mouth and your cheeks. Well, that's when you know that it's good.
Yeah.
Do you feel it? There's tingles.
Yes, that's what I'm having an experience right now.
No, it is. It is.
Yeah. And I'm trying to like not to be here, to be present, because I always tend to like go away and just kind of like, I'm flying over here. I'm like, have fun, girl. I'm not gonna, I can't, but I'm trying to always be present and just listen to everything you're saying.
And being in the present. So that's what it is with when you're with kids. It's the being present with them and to give them experience. They may not remember, yes, my name is Joy, and now there's, you know, different references. Like, for instance, there's a little boy that I watched since he was 6 weeks old. And now he is, oh my God, I think he's 4. And he is this incredible little boy. But when we first were watching him, I would do music and sounds with him. And so one day I was like, I believe that he really wants to sing. So he was laying in the crib and I was like, all right, Leonard, today is our singing lesson. So I got in there and I was like, just watching him just like you're looking at me. And I was like, the wheels on the bus go round and round. And he started and he was like, and so his sound, he started to learn his little voice and he was like the wheels on the bus and he was like trying to articulate the same little things. And I was like, this is incredible. This is what it's about. This, like, they may not remember the name, but they will remember that feeling. That moment. And now when he sees me, he's just
that he has that memory.
Even though he does think I'm the Joy from his favorite movie, Inside Out.
I love it.
No, he said, well, where's your blue hair? Oh. And I said, well, you know, I done left it in the car. His mom said, you know, you done started something, so now I'm gonna have to get me a blue wig. She was like, he has to watch you every morning. I said, but you know what? But now he knows that joy is tangible. It exists and it is everywhere. And it isn't just on a movie, if that's how it is. But now you have somebody to relate to. Now he can go tell his friend about joy. And then it passes it on. And so that's how it moves.
But not just that, but what you're creating in this child's mind, you know, you're already instilling joy. Yeah. You know, and that he's going to live with that forever. Yes. And he might not even realize it. Yes. You know, when he's 20, 25, he might just feel something. He'll just be like, where did I get this from? Oh, when you were a baby, this happened to you. This experience changed your life and it trickled down to the rest of your life. And that's a gift. And the child might not even know that he was giving this gift. And I love what you're saying, like, connecting with children through music, because my mother, she's a teacher too. So she always tells me how important it is to start educating children through art, you know? Yeah. And as a dancer, she always starts with music, the sound of the rhythm, knowing how to maintain or even recognize the rhythm of a song. And in education, she uses a lot of music too.
Mm-hmm.
You work with kids too, right?
I do. So I started when I was in Atlanta, Georgia, I started working with children in musical theater.
Yes.
And mind you, I had no experience like at this point. I knew how to, I watched my mother. I watched my mother.
The best teachers.
Yes. Yes. And my grandmother was also a teacher. So I come from a family of teachers. And so it was like easy for me to connect with the children. The one thing was structure that I'm just like, ooh, how do I not mess up this child? That was the one thing that was like, I got to speak to them in a certain way. Yeah. I can't, it's not the same as, we're speaking. So like how you said, you got to get down to their level so they feel protected and comfortable. And there's so many things, but children are beautiful. I love to see the reaction when they get something or where they're excited about a song or they recognize themselves in a song.
Oh yeah, when they realize their own spark of magic. Yes. It's the cutest, most adorable thing, and you just watch it like you're like, oh, and that was the birth of it. And so now then it's up to the parent from there to recognize it and to hone in on it. And you see like, oh, what was that allowed them to have that spark, whether it was in an environment. Now, some kids, parents find out that their kid, they're like, I didn't even know that my kid was social or knew how to get down, but it's like, you find different openers, and one for me, another opener that I do with, depending on the age group that I have, kids identify to superheroes. They have, if you get into imagination work, where you allow them to start their stories, because they have so many stories. You're like, where are these stories? The imagination is so wild. And so that's one of my openings. I was sitting, I said, ooh, did everybody dream? Did anybody dream last night? And then you start with, because I'll be like, Coach Joy, I had this wonderful dream and I didn't know if it was Princess Elsa or, and they're like, you had Princess Elsa in your dream? And then they'll go in their whole tangent and their story, and their parents are like, I didn't even know they even knew. And I'm like, yes, that's what this is. This is an opportunity for you to also see this is another way to connect with your child.
Would you say that that's like your way of instantly lifting up a kid's spirit? I mean, you can answer this too because you both have experience with kids.
Yeah.
Like, is that what's like your go-to? All right, I'm gonna crack this shell open.
Oh, there's different ones. Yeah. Another one, kids love high fives.
Really?
And like high fives are like five where they like to test their strength, So you ask them, kids, if you be like, ooh, I really like your shoes. I believe you can run fast. You can run fast. And they're like, yes, I can. And so you'll get them already, and they're like, oh, I get to show off my strength, my talent. So I'll ask like if you can make my hand red from a high five, do you think you can knock Coach Joy into the house? And they're like, oh, I know I can. And then they'll get to doing it. And sometimes it's really hard, but you keep doing it with them, and they're just like, oh, wow. Like, that's already, now you've tapped into their gift and their strength with it.
That is so beautiful. I'll say my experience is, which I think I lacked from it in my childhood, was being supportive. So I had this one little girl. She was playing Matilda, and she was just like, I don't know if I can hit that note. And I was like, yes, you can. Let's go backstage and let's practice it. And when she saw me, when she felt my support, like, you can do it. These are the keys, breathe this way, use your vocal cord. Like, I'm telling her a little technical stuff, but the support that I gave her was what made her believe in herself.
And which was also healing your inner little girl.
Yes. I had a moment of like, oh man, this is not just for her. This is for me too.
That's one thing that I struggle with because not growing up with any kids around me, no siblings, no first cousins, nobody.
Yeah.
When I approach a kid, I'm just like, hey, how's it going? And there's nothing else because I also don't have that experience of like embracing or unleashing my inner child, which I'm working on now in my 30s.
But I've seen you with
it's getting better.
You're so much better. And I love it because what it is for you is you're stepping out and you're conquering your fear. Because always know that if you step, like, that's what I love about kids, because no matter your age or whatever, your vulnerability, that's what they connect with first. They see souls first. They don't know and your lights and your auras. That's what and they're just like, so if you come and you're like, I'm a little nervous, but I'm here. They already feel that. But if you're like, I'm willing and open, watch them. They're like, okay, I got you. This is why I always say when parents, some parents have kids and things, I'm like, oh, that's the best thing for you. Like they're gonna heal you.
Yes.
Like that thing. Like and you hear them speak about it. Like they're the greatest teacher. Like I look forward one day, like having my own, and all of that.
I'm very interested in that too. Seeing myself
I'll bring
as
them
a
over to your
parent.
house. Child.
Yes.
Teach me. I will watch them.
Teach me all the things.
I could be your tia for the day. Your tita,
Titi Jaina's on her way.
Okay, they got a little backpack ready to pick them up, Charlie, at the porch.
Oh
Good
my
times.
God. Okay, so what age, do you think it like starts changing where they like start losing the magic and the innocence, and then they start seeing the ugliness and the dark side of reality, and like what in your experience, when has it been that you've seen a child that you're like, oh, he's going through that? There he is. There it is. Okay.
Unfortunately,
Depends,
because
right?
of the age of technology, kids are exposed to things super early, and you do your best to try to shield or try to order like what they see and all that, but sometimes it's out of your control in it. And so I've noticed like my 3 and 5, they're young, they're still quite bright, and like around 7, 8, and 9. Because that's they're getting cell phones at that age now,
which is crazy.
Yes,
I didn't have mine until I was 13.
I see babies
Yes.
with iPads at
that
restaurants.
knows what to do, how to stroll and swipe and all of those things. And so right then, that's the age, because at 7 is when you start to really come into like your identities are being formed.
Okay,
like,
that makes sense.
Like where like I can remember some early trauma that I had to work through from when I was 7. And that's that impressionable age. And so like that's when you're really targeting. And if I could go back to my little 7-year-old self, it would be then the power of affirmations that I use now, which is why when I do my workshops, I do these workshops now for kids. And we set up these workshops based on the ages of the children from 3 all the way up to in high school. But you leave with a card that are affirmations for you. And so I'm already pouring into them. Oh, wow. Because that was something that I wish I had in me, like which mom did a great job, but we didn't. It's not like the way like we are now. You know what I mean? Like now I get into the mirror and I am worthy of my joy. And like, yes, I am, like the power of I am. And so with the kids, I start them already with pouring into them like who they are, because that's when it starts. You see it with social media, start comparing already. They start, seeing or wishing that they had this and that. And it's like, those already the forms of insecurities. And most of it, like even with me, most of my insecurities come from the worthiness, not feeling good enough. Not feeling like there's a place, like, really? Am I wanted here? All those things. And it comes from the self-love. Because once you love you, nothing else matters.
Yes. Yes. Receiving
I know,
that.
right? And it reminds me of like a moment. This was recently with my mom. Hey, Mom, I love you. But I said something. We were in the car and I go, I am beautiful, Mom. I love myself. And she goes, okay, with the ego. And I was like, no, Mom, stop it. This is why I had so many issues growing up, because we were always told to like be humble, never brag. But I was like, Mom, it's not a brag. It's self-love.
Appreciating yourself.
Celebrating.
Yes.
It's so interesting to see like the dynamics in that generation, how they were brought up. Like, oh no, you don't ever talk to yourself that way because you are no one.
Which which I think was so of that thing of, what is it? Dimming your light. Like so much of the dimming the light. Because now the kids today are like, we're like, no, you don't dim for anybody. You know what I mean? You walk into a room and you walk in all of your boldness, all of your little black girl magic and all of those things that we are, expressing to the kids. But back then they weren't given that. They didn't have language for it.
Right.
Right. That's what it is.
They didn't have language for it, and they didn't have the intention behind it. because it wasn't show that was okay. You know, the only people who were truly celebrated was, you know, like our men. You know, like they were told, you look sharp. And, you know, and everyone else was given a position beside them as the extra, you know. But now we're moving forward. We are the leaders, and we are the boldness. And I mean, sorry, man, but I just think that it's going to be women that save the planet.
Oh, honestly, I agree with you. Okay, time out real quick. Is there something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Regardless if you have clinical mental health issues like depression or anxiety, or you're just a human living in this crazy world and you're going through a hard time, therapy can give you the tools that you need to approach your life in a very different way. And that's why I'm very excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy affordable and accessible. And this is a very important mission because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially if you're limited to your options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes it easier to find a therapist because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp will match you with a professional therapist in just as little as a few days. It is so easy to sign up and match with a professional therapist. There's a link in the description of this episode. It's betterhelp.com/afterwewrap. Clicking that link helps support After We Wrap. And you also get 10% off on your first month with BetterHelp. So you can connect with your therapist and see if it helps you. Finding a therapist is a little bit like dating. So if you don't fit with that therapist, which is a common thing in therapy, you can easily switch to a therapist for free without stressing about insurance, who's in your network, or anything like that. I personally started using BetterHelp during the pandemic because, to say the least, like many, I needed someone to talk to. And I had never talked to a therapist before, and I'm so happy I did because I realized how much I needed it. So I really, really look forward to that weekly meeting. If you are struggling, please consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit the website betterhelp.com/afterwewrap. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for supporting this podcast. The future generation, and I love, this generation now that is going to, you know, take over once we're gone, but now they're seeing, you know, how important it is to talk to yourself with love and affirmations and all of that. And so I hope that changes the world into a better place, you know, because they're going to be calling us out already. The children are being like, why did you do this? Why are you doing this? You know, and now we're realizing like, oh, it's because A, B, C, D, whatever mom taught us, because they were taught that way. And so it goes into generation. And I just love that this generation is picking up on all of those.
Breaking those generation curses, breaking generational patterns, generational old, I mean, we're seeing it before our very eyes. Old systems don't work anymore. And those systems are falling, like, you know, and they need to. They're, you know, one of my favorite speakers or, teachers is this gentleman named Bishop T.D. Jakes. And he is a phenomenal pastor, but he's not just a preacher. He's just a great businessman. I love his language, like his word. I listen to him to learn like big words and new words and things. And he just did a book called Disruptive Thinking. Disruptive Thinking. And what I love about what he's calling to action to this generation and to everyone now, that if we're here, the only way that we can progress and to make difference, you know, to make a change is to have disruptive thinking. You got to like disrupt what you think, what something is. You have to be bold. You have to go like, there's no more time to be shy and timid and you know what I mean? And like, and asking for permission. Give yourself permission to live in all of your greatness, and just know that from that, you are going to attract the frequencies and the people that you need to do what you got to.
God, I
know, right? Give me all that confidence, please. Can you put it in a jar and sell it? I will buy it. But like what I'm getting from all of this is like, our words are so powerful, and our words are what we become. You know, what we manifest is what exists, and I feel like that's now the new wave in this generation. Like it's under a microscope, right? Through social media, through you know, all this advanced technology. Like our words are so powerful. So powerful.
Yeah. Words are powerful in the sense of like, because all of this is changing your mindset. like changing the way that you think, the way that we see ourselves, the way that we feel. And it starts, like, we so often think that it's an external thing. And what I've learned from myself is that, like, of how to survive is like, it's really just me. Like, and, you know, and we're noticing it now more than ever. Like, this generation does feel more loneliness. Like, you know, you hear loneliness spoke about.
Especially post-pandemic.
Yeah, post-pandemic, you know, with the mental, you know, we really talk about mental awareness now. Like,
Mental health,
you know, and all of that. So it's like I mean, I didn't hear it from a long time ago, you know, but now you hear it.
We couldn't identify what it
was.
was.
We couldn't identify it. Just like, I'm just sad, or I just don't want no one to look at me today, you know, and all these things. And I had to learn that it's like the positive thinking, but it like to start changing my inner voice, that voice that we hear, because we all know that little inner critique,
inner critic,
that inner critic where like,
I can't,
the positive
and
and the
yes,
always here,
yes. And so that was where I wanted to dive in and say, what is, like, how do I change that person or that voice?
Yes,
because once that voice changed, I can go get anything else. You know, I can go and talk to anyone else now. You
know what I learned?
Yeah.
That you should name it. Like, name that voice, that inner critic, name the bad voice, and then name the good voice.
And name the good one.
Like, have two different names.
Oh, I like that.
Like,
I love that. Do you keep the negative voice in case?
I mean, it's there.
It's there.
It's there.
Yeah. It doesn't go. It's gonna always be there. But then you begin to, like, you are bold over it
and understand. Yeah,
yes, and you put it in its place. Like, you like, listen.
Yes,
I understand you have a seat at the table, but it's not your turn to serve the dish. You know, like, it's not, you are here and you have a driving force. You've put your 2 cents in, but you're not the master. There's another chef coming in. And so that's why it's almost like, who's sitting at your table?
Yeah.
So, you know, we know those voices are there, but it's faith there.
Right.
It's gratitude, it's grace, it's joy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Name the people at your table.
I love this. I know. I have to think about my names.
Now I'm going to think about it too.
Because I oftentimes listen to that voice, the negative voice, and the one that's destructing me. And I forget to acknowledge the good one. You know, I'm always trying to okay, stop. Like, I hate, why is it that I pay more attention to that negative voice than the positive one?
Yeah. Same.
That says a lot.
Same.
Now.
Yeah. No, but we're all a work in progress.
Yes.
Please give me somebody that is a full all together, and I'd be like, nah, you know that ain't even real.
Right.
Because listening to the negative voice is easier.
Yes.
Because then you just sit down and, okay, well, she says that I can't do it, so I'm just going to sit on the couch and watch TV and then forget about it.
Defeat it.
And then the next day you're like, wow, why did I do that to myself? Like, and then you're sad, and then you feel sad, and then you feel depressed.
You feel guilty for doing it, and then you're mad at yourself for doing it because you know better. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you know, but then we have to learn. That's when my word this year has been just grace. Give ourselves grace. That's what we're all trying to figure it out.
I've been saying that more and more this year.
Yeah. It is.
So
and when it just rolls off and you're like, now that feels comforting. When I just gave myself grace, it's like a big old hug.
Yes.
Oh my God. I had this question, the iPad babies.
That's funny. The iPad babies.
Yeah, because like,
no, they're like,
they can't function without an iPad or a phone, and they're always like, "Mom, give me your phone."
It's like they almost come out like with this, knowing this like extra technology. I'm like, how did you even know?
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, how did you even know? Because I'm looking at certain babies and I'm like, you are tiny.
They will never know a world without it.
No. Yep. I'm like, did the parent, as soon as they got home, the parent was like, look,
put the TV on.
Yes. Or like, here's the parent. Mama just need to sleep a little bit.
Do you think that's healthy? Well, obviously it's not healthy, but like, is it healthy? What's the healthy age for a baby to see the television for the first time? Because my mother always hated that I love TV, that I watch TV.
When did you start watching TV?
I mean, honestly, The Little Mermaid.
You're like 7?
Was like
6?
No, because I was like 2. Because Little Mermaid came out in '89. I was born '87, so by 2, I was watching Little Mermaid. My mom said that was my first introduction to.
I guess everything is in moderation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, what are you allowed to put in, into the child is a bigger question that we should. I don't think it's about the TV, you know what I mean, or it's about the internet. It's
about the media they're
It's
consuming.
about what the program that you're doing, because there's so much great content out there that are like, that want to elevate your child's knowledge, and whether that's music and art and all those things. So if you are going to put a TV in front of your child to shape them to be like in this space, then that to me I'm okay with,
Sure, right.
Yeah.
But if you just like I'm using this as a crutch to escape,
Yeah.
that's the wrong intention behind it, right? Like I don't feel like that's
To
serving.
distract.
Or if you have parents that just put like some scary movie on.
Yeah,
the
scary
child's
movie.
looking
Then
at
you're already planting the seeds of trauma and already fear that doesn't even need to be there.
Wow.
And so then when your child get in a certain space or an environment, you're like, well, I wonder why that. It's because, and it's like, you planted that a long time ago. But they're so impressionable.
Yeah.
And they're sponges. And they're so curious.
Mm-hmm.
And if you like, I don't know, like there's no way to really do it. But like whenever I go into a room or a space with kid, I like try to set an intention of what it is that I want from that day. Like sometimes with talking to the parents, it may be like a theme party or whatever, but I always like like a lot of the kids love Encanto, so we go and we're dancing, no one talks about, and then you like leave them with something that's maybe related to that story.
Okay.
Whether it's a superhero as well, I'll do that. Like if there's a problem, I would like, what is something like, how would Batman act that way? Is Batman kind?
Yeah.
Is he nice? When you do it, like when you're able to relate it to their person, like where they get it, their perspective, it sits.
That brings me back to this memory. I was like 7 or 8, and I don't know how Child's Play, the movie Chucky, landed in my lap. But I remember as a kid being like, oh my God, I loved it. I loved that movie so much.
Because it's a doll.
I love Chucky. And it gave me nightmares. And I got to the point where I woke up and I remember telling my mom, I had a dream that I was Chucky's girlfriend, and in my dream I convinced him not to kill me because I was like, I'm your girlfriend, you love me, you wouldn't kill me, you wouldn't hurt me. Like I was already at that age.
Wow.
I don't know how, but it's so I don't know how it landed.
That movie,
And then you went
that movie
to
used to haunt me.
Queens.
Yeah,
That one and Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
And y'all. It's like sidebar. I went to a restaurant and off of Ventura, and he has a very distinct voice. The man that played Freddy Krueger. I had my back turned, sitting at the bar, and I was there, and I was like, "Ooh, I want a drink or whatever." And I heard this man order the drink, and I hadn't turned around. When I tell you the hairs on my arms stood up, I said, "Oh, he's here."
He's here. Oh, he's here.
He's here. I just had to slowly turn, and I looked, and I promise you, I don't know what it is, maybe because of all the man still looked like him. No, he does. You can tell that's yes. And I just
did you ask him? Did you talk to him?
No, I just said hello, and I just said, "Ooh, my childhood," and just left it at that. That was all I needed to say to him. That's all I needed. But
gosh.
I just want y'all to know my whole body was turned, and his voice made my hairs, and I turned around and said, "He's here." And he was at the bar.
That's I'm creeped out, but I also love it. I'm
fascinated.
fascinated by it.
Oh, guys.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you worked with children that love scary movies and they're all about? So my nephew, he was introduced to what was a Walking Dead show at a very early age that I did not agree with. I was like, oh baby, what are you doing to my nephew? And he's a little mopey kid, but he's 13. Wow. He's going through that phase.
Yeah.
But how do you talk to children that aren't exposed to happiness, joy, and freedom, and happy thoughts, and
we're coming into like how I work with them now is their safe space is we give journals. Like this is a moment for you just to write. This is a moment for you to express what it is you're feeling. So we just ask them questions. Like it's kind of like icebreakers, like a starter, like, when you go in, like to your 13-year-old, I'd probably go in and sit and be like, like real basic and just be like, I got a question for you. Can you remember the last time that you felt joy? And they're like, well, no. Or they ask like, what is joy? Or like, you mean like happy? And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go there. When's the last time you felt happy? Did you receive something? Was it a gift? Then you start opening it up and like you like have these conversations that lead to different things. And once they begin to talk about that, then you start like I take mental note of interest that they have, because they'll tell you what they like. Whether that's, some are into Roblox, some are into science, some are in just like, the cool things. And you,
sports, yeah.
Yes, sports. And you take something that they have, and to you, how you use it is it's the biggest gift for you. Like they just told you a little something about it. That's all I needed. I just needed a little gem. Now that I know a little gem about you, I'm going to run with it.
Okay.
And once you feel safe with knowing that little part, then you're going to open up and you're going to tell me something else.
Where were you when I was a little girl?
I know, right?
Where the hell was someone like you when I was little? I kid you not. I'm like, I didn't journal when I was a kid.
I know.
I'm journaling now.
Yes.
I wish I had, but I'm also thankful that,
Yeah,
it's
that's
never
what I'm
too
saying.
late.
It's never too late. And that's what this is about. It's like me going, like, since there's this mission of global joy, since there's this thing that I'm really passionate about, because I love acting. But what I love about with acting and what I love about with it, it's just, it all goes back to storytelling.
Yeah.
I love stories. And if you can tell a good story, if you can feel a good story, then you'll take someone else on a whole journey. I want you to I can visualize. I felt like I saw the little kid there and I'm like, yes, that's the point. I want you to go there with me. Because if I can get you to feel a little bit, then job well done.
Job well done.
Yes.
And that's what we all want at the end.
Yes.
Job well done.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
This is a journey. Okay, this is a journey. I have one more question, and then we can go over anything else. So I was a very hard student with my mother. Like I was a very rough student to deal with.
Yeah.
Only with my mother though, because she's the teacher. So, like I said, my mother's a ballerina, and then she had her own ballet academy, and she was my teacher. I never respected her as a teacher. So anytime in class, I was just like the silly one, like, Gabriella, you guys stand straight. And I'd be like, okay, mom. And I still do it.
Is that because you think you can get away with?
Yes.
Because she's your mom?
For sure.
Huh.
But and then I see, I don't know, Beyonce and Blue Ivy, who was performing at her concert the other day and killing it. And I was like, why can't I be like that with my own mom? Why was I think a hard student to deal with? But then with another teacher, I'm like, yes, teacher.
I don't know why, but just as you're talking, it just hit me. And I like felt to say the separation of the two. Like there was a disconnect between mom being just mom and then teacher being just teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was something that was off in there, where there were times, and probably didn't know how to articulate it or move in that space, where you're like, I just want you to be mom.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in another moment, I just want you to be a teacher. And what does that look like? And even as a teacher, are you still serving just me in this way, or do I have to share you with the rest of the world? So now I'm going to get into the room and I'm going to do what I do best of. I'm going to seek attention. I'm going to perform to see, can I get an arouse out of you that I'm still lacking and wanting to do it to get as your mom. And so once you're able to heal the two and to separate with it, then that's okay. Then there you are. That's your break.
Wow.
Right.
Oh, man.
But maybe that also, because I get the sense of like you must have felt so safe and comfortable with your mother. That for her to correct you or discipline you, it's almost like you felt so much of that love that you didn't take it seriously, because you were like, at the end of the day, she's my mom.
That's true.
And I don't have to be the perfect student, because I've already been given all of that attention and love and I don't know. You're right.
Like
there's this relationship.
Yeah, it's all
disconnect.
about the relationships and being able to heal them. So that's in like you're like, even in your adult life now, you're like, I still struggle with it sometimes. Then give yourself permission to forgive yourself in that.
I know, right?
That's how, like, do you know, like the start is of forgive yourself. And once you forgive you, then you'll be able to forgive mommy, and you'll be able to forgive that version of what showed up at that time that served in that space. And then you're on this whole healing journey. And then you'll serve the little girl in you that still needs to.
Okay.
Jaina, no, I was not prepared for this.
Not gonna do that.
I was not ready for this.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
I
Thank
love you guys.
Thank you so much.
I'm gonna have
for
to
that.
watch again by myself because when my brain is so interesting. When I'm put in a situation like this, I start going away because I don't want to listen to it. I'm scared. I'm terrified.
Yeah.
But when I'm by myself, then I go back and then I'm like, okay, what was that about? And then I'll watch this. I know
Do
this.
you feel present in this moment?
I do.
Yeah.
But there's moments that where I was like starting to go. I was like, I don't want to.
It's the denial of like, this isn't, I don't want to receive, I'm not ready to receive this, or the truths, to face the truth.
Does that all come from like childhood trauma? Like, where did it start?
All of that, it comes from there. Yeah. Like it comes from like us, like our childhood trauma, like we have these things. For myself over the last few years, I've been on this huge spiritual journey because I realized that I was holding it in my body. My friend can tell you, I was dealing with back issues and like frozen shoulder, all these issues that I'm like, girl, I am too young to have this, but my body was like, and so I had to listen to it. And what it was telling me was I was holding on to things and people and stuff that just wasn't mine. Let it go. And to let it go, I was like, okay, so I got to go do a whole lot of healing, And so I got to a place where I got tired of performing. I'm an artist, but I didn't want to perform anymore. I got tired of proving to people who I was and my joy. And I got tired of people pleasing. All of those things are exhausting. And once I realized like I don't want to do it anymore and I just want to live in all of me, then I'm able to like speak. And so when someone asks me something, I'm like, I don't know where that comes, but it's like, I know that's a truth because that was a truth for me. And if it lands with you, then that means you got a little resonation with you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Ooh, cut to Gaby on a spiritual journey, self-healing. Yes. Oh my gosh. I can see it. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, Joy, we're gonna wrap this up a little rapid this or that.
Okay.
Thinking.
Okay, no thinking.
Excuse me, off the top of your head.
Boom.
You want to alternate?
Okay.
First one, group hang or one-on-one hang?
I love one-on-one.
Same.
Yeah. So much more intimate. Sunrise or sunset?
I love sunrise.
Ooh.
Sunsets are beautiful. They really are. But there's something about the joy in the morning.
Yes.
Like when it's good, like the joy in the morning.
That's so true.
Also, she could sing. I forgot to mention that. Like she just does it all.
What can she do? It's like when I woke up at 5:00 in the morning on my wedding day. Like,
oh yeah,
I had I couldn't go back to sleep, and I see the lights coming in. I was like, okay, I gotta get up.
Yeah. Awesome.
And the sun's coming out. And that's when I send you the video, babe. And because I was like, baby, we're about to get married. Like, but I was having a spiritual moment right there in the balcony, 5:00 in the morning, still a little bit drunk from last night, but just seeing the sunrise and just like taking it all in.
My grandma said that those are the God hours.
Yo.
We rarely get to see them, man.
Yeah, those hours, those are the real.
I wish I was a morning person.
I know,
so
right?
I could experience sunrise more often.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me to get up early.
Vivi,
I'd love
you have
to
to have
sleep.
an alarm. You're like, all right.
I love to sleep.
Sleep is good.
I know.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites, and I'll go to sleep anywhere. Don't let us be out in the club, and if I'm sleeping, you look over. Come back. Dun, 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 dun. All right, y'all.
Take a little power nap.
Okay, TV shows. Thank you. TV shows or movies?
What you watching?
In this season lately, it's been TV shows. I just finished Succession.
Don't tell me
I ain't gonna tell
anything.
y'all nothing,
I'm 2
bro.
episodes behind.
Baby,
please.
that show
I have
was.
not watched it.
Yes, I feel good.
Really?
Ted Lasso. You cannot tell me that I'm not a member of that
it's
soccer
good.
team.
Yeah.
No, I think I've been practicing.
Yes. Same.
I really do.
Same.
I love that show.
Do you watch Abbott Elementary?
I do.
Oh my God, obsessed.
I mean,
Obsessed.
I want to go to the school.
Me too.
Like, I really want to be a teacher. I want to be a student. I want to be everything at this point.
too.
The principal,
The principal,
everyone-
everything. You know, and they need an assistant, a substitute. I'm all the way.
I know.
I'm there.
I was
I'm
like,
like, I could totally see you on that show.
I
I could totally see you on that show.
it.
I'm obsessed.
It's such
I'm
a good
obsessed.
show.
It's
Same.
so good.
same.
That's what I'm saying. There's so much. There's exciting TV out there, and you know, we're in the middle of this strike that we're feeling, and that is the own thing. But I'm looking at it as a blessing that it's just calling for all the artists, and we get it first.
Mm.
And if you think about how the world works, like, we are the creatives. We get it first because we're being called to dig deep and to tell the stories and go to the places that not everyone knows how to articulate, how to write, and how to be.
Yes.
So, like, stretch, get out of your boxes,
Yeah.
get into collaboration, ask the tough questions. Sometimes I don't think we ask the right questions. And that's what that's doing.
That is.
I'll leave that.
I mean, we don't have to even. That's it. That's it right there. That's it right there.
Yes.
Asking the right question. Oof.
Wow. I mean, you leave me speechless. You just do
I know.
every single time. I'm like, this is how it is. Hey, honestly, what you see here in this table is what you get in person. If these mics weren't here, if these lights weren't here, cameras, you
Wow.
get the same
I
exact.
love you so much.
Wow.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you for all that you do,
Yes.
all that you offer, all that you gift this world and all the people around you. It is a clear testament to your heart and your soul and your
And I think of the children's that you're changing their lives, or, you know, implementing a seed, a very special seed that they might not see. They don't see it right now, but they'll see it, you know, years down the road.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, it's like they're going to be like, where was that? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
And they might never get to thank you in person,
Yes.
but it's there. That
Yes.
thought
In their
of like,
heart.
there was that
Yes.
one person that changed my
it was
life.
joy
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
along. All along.
That's what I'm thinking of. I'm like, those children.
It all comes back to joy.
Mhm.
So oh yeah.
How do we find you?
You can find me online. I'll go slow and spell it out. Because this last name, it's
Hey, I know all about last names.
okay. It tells you all kind of things. But on Instagram, my personal is joy.mcelveen, MCELVEEN, or my organization, Joy is Everywhere, INC. Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
Well, we love you.
I love you.
Thank you so much for taking
Thank
the
you so
time
much.
to talk with
Yes.
us today and pour your heart out. You
have taken us on a journey.
Yeah, it's like an experience.
I had no idea I needed this.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Oh my God. You are loved. We are loved. And we are joy because of
We
you.
are joy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
ladies.
much.
Cheers!
Yes.